I'm not sure how many of you know this, but I am an introvert. I am a great big introvert. I am quiet. I like alone time. And the thought of socializing slightly terrifies me. However, I work in an industry where this is not such a great trait all of the time. So I'm going to tell you the problems as introverts are facing and how I deal with them in the hope that it could be of use to you. Now you're probably sat there going, Scott, are you really an introvert? You're here on YouTube. Now YouTube is the ultimate platform for introverts. I'm in here today with my dog who's currently chasing his tail and a camera. That's it. It's just us. It's nice and quiet. And because of that, me and Teddy here, we're having a great day. This is blissful. This is my idea of heaven. It's just the two of us. We went for coffee together this morning, just the two of us. Later on tonight, I'm going to the pub for an alcohol-free Guinness and a bit of a gap in children logistics. It'll be just the two of us. He doesn't count as a human because he doesn't talk back. He's very good like that. He's just there. And to be honest, if he wasn't here, I'd have done the exact same thing anyway. I'd have gone to the cafe, I'll be going to the pub. I enjoy going out by myself. I like being by myself. Working in here alone is great. But there's some problems with being introvert. Introverts are often shy and worried about the world. Not all of you, but a lot of us. And because of that, we worry about criticism. And I want to tell you how I've learned to cope with criticism, being somebody who receives a lot of it. So for those who don't know, YouTube is my side hustle. And obviously the criticism amplified substantially when I came onto YouTube. But even before then, as a photographer, I received a lot of criticism. And this comes back from before starting YouTube. If I hadn't have had this advice, I wouldn't have started YouTube for the fear of ridicule and criticism. I remember chatting to a lovely photographer I know and sending him a screenshot of a message I'd received on Instagram years ago, pre-pandemic, that long ago. And I was like, this person's just sent me this about my work. Like, what should I do? And his response has changed the way I perceive other people's opinions on my work. He said, go and have a look at their work and let me know what you think of theirs. So I did. Off I trotted onto their Instagram, had a quick look. They looked like your average photographer from a camera club, which is fine, by the way, but that's what they looked like. They were commenting on a worldwide ad campaign I'd shot for one of the biggest companies in the world and telling me how rubbish it was in quite a vicious way. Like, it wasn't just that I don't like this, it was quite vicious. Now, a few things, I'd never leave a negative comment on anybody's work because why bother? And I think it does take a certain, well, there's a personality type that leaves negative comments and trolling comments, and they're called narcissists. And they suffer from narcissistic personality disorder for the majority of the times. And people like that feed off the sort of like engagement they get through it. So that's one thing to think about. But this is the bit which really worked for me. Now, today's video, it's sponsored by me and Studio Access, which is my online platform where we teach you everything about photography that is too in-depth for YouTube. You know, if you want to be at that more high end of the industry, that is probably the place for you to go to, not to YouTube. So that's where we put that content. He went, and I'll never forget this, but he said, nobody better than you will ever criticize you for free. And this is such great insight and advice. And it's also like, I mean, if you want me to criticize your work, you're damn sure going to have to pay for me to review it. I don't give free reviews. Nobody who is better than you will ever leave a negative comment on your work. Be that a YouTube video you make. I've never seen a big YouTube channel slate my videos. I've never seen anybody with any YouTube channel slate my videos. It's just faceless people. You won't get top photographers slagging off your work because one, they would not want to be seen to be doing that because it's so embarrassing. And two, they wouldn't do it because why bother? I've never had a photographer better than me slate my work. It'd be ridiculous. It's absurdity. So before you worry about what people are going to say, just remember, nobody who can do a better job than you is going to say anything of importance. Just ignore it and crack on. Now, one of the problems in professional photography is that it's a very loud and leery environment. When you're on a shoot with 10 people, you've been there since 7 in the morning, you finish at 7 p.m. because you've overrun, then you've got to go out for post-shoot drinks, then you're back in the next day for another one. It's a lot for us who don't like socializing. It can get a little bit much. So I have a system in place for this. I have a very good system in place for this. Whenever I have busy day. So for example, this Wednesday, I'm out in town, networking, taking clients out, that sort of thing. That is going to cost me a lot of energy points. The day after, I have a busy sociable morning. That is going to cost me points. So Friday, you can be damn sure me and Theodore here, who's currently chasing his tail again, will be in the studio doing some editing, color grading, admin, something nice and sedate, and something definitely that doesn't involve other human beings, because we need a break, don't we? We have to recover. There has to be quiet days. Now, one of the major benefits of being an introvert in photography is that a lot of the things you have to do to make it in this industry require you to be able to sit down, shut up, and do work for days on end. And that's very important. All of the working out your marketing strategies, curating your portfolio, color grading your images, there's no big social team there for that. There's no big, people to like bounce off of and all the rest of it. It's a very isolated, insular job for the majority of days. It's the minority when you have that big shoot on and that big busy day. That's not every day. And one of the other things I do whenever I have a big shoot, I mean, granted, they're mostly in London, we stay in a hotel for an extra day. I have a day off by myself in a hotel just to recoup. Teddy, leave it. Another thing worth noting as an introvert, it may seem that a lot of the world's greatest people are very loud and outgoing, but everyone that I've met who I've thought that of has told me I'm actually an introvert. I find these events exhausting. I find this networking horrific. It is not uncommon. It is not, we're not in the minority in like high excelling industries. A lot of people who do very well are introverted because a lot of things that you want to do well in require spending a lot of time alone. And being able to do that and enjoy it is a real asset. I think the problem with photography is you see the big, loud, Larry shoots and putting yourself out there into the public, and that can really look like a very stressful sort of way to live. Introverts, or at least myself, and again, I don't speak for every introvert in the world, we like to spend a lot of time in our heads. I spend more time thinking than doing, and I really enjoy that. And in a creative pursuit, that can be brilliant, as long as you do the work. Do you want to chase it? Go fetch. If you're doing the work, you can spend as much time in your head as you want. But a lot of photographers, they just spend time in the head. And here is how I get around that. Oh, good boy. Drop it. I have rules. Every month, I must do one photo shoot as a minimum for personal work. Every month, I must do one networking event as a minimum. Every month, I must go on a social do as a minimum. All of these rules I have in place in order to make sure I don't become the hermit I'm destined to be. Left to my own devices, it'd be me and Teddy. We'd probably live in the studio just so we didn't have to see anybody or commute. And I mean, I'd probably be pretty happy, but I'd be very poor. So in order to make sure that we can be introverted and still make money, we have to add those extra rules in there. Otherwise, it's just chaos. Now, what I want to leave with on this video is I want to open up the comments to all of you. And I'd like to hear your, I guess, your hacks for introvert photographers or introvert life. Because I'm always fascinated to learn more. I was probably born this way or made this way, whatever, I don't know if it's nature or nurture, but this is the way I am. And although I'm quite happy in myself, there are things I'd rather do better. And there are things I'd rather be better at, and having some more hacks and some more rules in place probably wouldn't be a bad thing for me. I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.